Tonight on CTV News at 6, organizational review.
All of the colleges and universities, too, are suffering under the funding model in Ontario.
Canadore College in North Bay is looking to find $20 million in savings. Defending the Arctic.
If you can fight in the cold, you can fight anywhere in the world because it's the hardest thing to do.
Canadian Army reservists are wrapping up their winter exercise in the Hearst area. And as we look to save money,
put in your postal code and you put in your radius, like 10 kilometers from your postal code, how far are you willing to drive.
A company based in North Bay has designed a new grocery savings app.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you decided to spend some time with us on this Friday. Two men charged with serious crimes from 2022 were in Sudbury court today to deal with legal matters before their trial gets underway next month. Joel Roy is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree murder, while Kevin Lamoureux is also charged with murder. Details from court today are protected under a publication ban. The case involves the fatal shooting of 2 men at the Travelodge Hotel on Paris Street, December 20th, 2022. Also connected is the 2022 death of a Southern Ontario man whose body was found in a wooded area in April 2023. The trial starts April 7th. A firefighter has been injured following a house fire Wednesday in the town of Blind River. The call came in just before 5 p.m. about a house on fire in the west end of Young Fox Road. Fire officials say they needed 16 firefighters to put out the blaze, which had no civilian fatalities or injuries. The injured firefighter had minor injuries and has since been released from hospital. There's no word yet on a cause. In a statement, Fire Chief Ryan Belair writes, in part, the Blind River Fire Department would like to remind residents that calling 911 immediately at the first sign of an emergency is critical. Early notification allows emergency services to respond quickly and can significantly reduce the impact of fires and other emergencies. A judge has affirmed a $3.6 billion settlement for claims under the Robinson Superior Treaty. The money is being awarded as compensation for breaching the treaty on annuity payments, which were intended to increase but never did. After 6 months of negotiations, First Nations felt as if the resolution and negotiations were not done honorably as directed by the Supreme Court.
We have comments in the decision by Justice Hennessy that much of the process was not up to snuff. But on balance, he said, and this is the conclusion, on balance, the amount is within the ballpark. So the process, not so much the result within the ballpark. Supreme Court of Canada said both the process and the result had to be honorable. And so whether or not there's an appeal or not, my clients have to consider whether or not to appeal.
The 30-day appeal period began February 27th. The province did not respond to our request for comment citing the appeal period. However, the federal government said it respects the First Nations' decision to seek a review, adding the Ontario Superior Court found that the compensation Canada and Ontario provided to the First Nations was reasonable and honorable to address past wrongs. As we told you yesterday, Saskatchewan First Nation is calling for the resignation of the Minister of Indigenous Services, Mandy Galmasti. The request comes after 2 months of cancelled visits to Saskatchewan and host sites for evacuees. The minister responding late yesterday to our request, saying, in part, while I have been working with urgency to support this emergency response, I regret not having been able to visit the community in person and remain committed to doing so. Adding, she's been in open dialogue with Chief Hosea Wesley since the beginning. Galmasti did not provide a timeline for visiting the First Nation in her written statement. North Bay's Canadore College announcing today it will need to find $20 million in savings for the next fiscal year. The college will conduct an organizational review which will include an evaluation of the college's structure, workforce, and resource allocation. Canadore will be taking a phased approach and will be offering one-time voluntary departure and retirement incentive programs. The president of OPSU Local 657 says he doesn't believe this will solve the deficit.
I expect that a certain number of employees will take them up on this offer. So there, we've seen the same kind of offers made at most of the other colleges in Ontario. I don't have a lot of faith that this solves the problem in any way. I think this is only just a piece of the problem, a piece of the puzzle, and I think that we will see further restructuring, possibly layoffs, certainly program closures going forward.
The college says future phases will be guided by ongoing assessments and consultations, adding the focus going forward will be protecting core academic priorities.
This isn't a Canadore situation specific. All of the colleges and universities too are suffering under the funding model in Ontario. I should be careful to make it clear that it's not one government that's done this. It's been a progression where funding has progressively gotten worse on a per student basis for this province compared to any of the other provinces.
College officials say there may be future phases if necessary. Canadian Army reservists are wrapping up a 9-day winter exercise in the Hearst area. Officials say mission is necessary to ensure they are ready to defend Canada's Arctic region if ever called upon. CTV's Lydia Chubak has more.
Army reservists are entrenched in Hearst, engaged in a winter warfare exercise.
If you can fight in the cold, you can fight anywhere in the world because it's the hardest thing to do.
They set up a command center in the town's fire hall to maintain communication with 3 platoons positioned in the Arctic watershed north of Constance Lake First Nation. Major Mark Richardson is the commanding officer for the tactical portion of the operation.
This is exercising defensive tactics. So we are holding a position to prevent a notional or pretend enemy force from advancing south towards the community of Hearst. So we are protecting this road from an advancing enemy force.
About 170 reservists are here to rehearse warfighting skills in a sub-zero climate in the event of being called to serve. Hearst was chosen this year from a dozen locations for its austere environment and its proximity to the Trans-Canada Highway.
This is my first trip to Hearst, but we do these exercises every year as part of a large reserve mobilization to practice our warfighting skills in the Arctic and subarctic environment. Well, it was very cold when we got here. It was minus 45 and very challenging conditions, but we persevered through and did our job.
This has taught me a lot about managing myself and others as well. So if you're cold and you're getting cold, you're not going to be very helpful to everybody else if you're suffering. So keeping accountability of yourself and then also checking in on your friends, because if they're cold, they might not say it, or if people aren't complaining, typically that's a bad sign. They're suffering in silence and you don't want that.
It's something that increasingly is important as the world politics evolve, and so we just want to be prepared should we need to defend Canada or respond to anything domestically as well.
Training in this location also presents the unique opportunity to learn skills from the Canadian Rangers.
Survive off in the land, or how do you properly maneuver through the snow, how to build fires, how to check the ice, what else could there be? How to properly take down trees, how to properly look for, firewood.
Glacial Arrowhead 26 concludes this weekend with personnel returning to their home garrisons. Leaders say it's important that Canadians are aware reservists operate in approximately 117 communities and play a role in defending Canadian Arctic sovereignty. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Hearst.
Now let's talk weather. Things are about to get messy out there. To tell us more, here's CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Tony, it all comes with a rainfall warning as issued by Environment Canada. As you can see, the sectors right now in yellow. Lots of rain coming down this evening, overnight, and into tomorrow as well. So again, we'll keep a close eye on that, get into some further details later on. Our systems map, you can see that system encroaching northeastern Ontario. It's already raining in some areas as well, like the Sault along that Highway 17 corridor, and will continue into the evening and into tomorrow as well. Should diminish somewhat by tomorrow evening, and again, we'll get some flurry activity as the temperature changes. Details coming up with our currents and a lot more in just a couple of minutes. Tony?
Thanks, Rick. More than 400 people were there. Still to come on CTV News at 6. We are going to an event in Sudbury recognizing the accomplishments of women. But first, we're heading to the mouth of the Michipicoten River. This live webcam is courtesy of the municipality of Wawa. It's 1 degree. We will return in just a few minutes.
Pure Country 91.7 wants to send you to Sandals South Coast in Jamaica. We're giving away an all-inclusive Caribbean vacation for 2 every weekday. Listen for your chance to win. Pure Country Passport with Sandals Resorts. Get closer to the Caribbean.
The Greater Sudbury Chamber of Commerce hosted its annual International Women's Day event this morning. It featured a panel of 4 women in business, entrepreneurship, and leadership. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
450 people packed the Caruso Club Friday morning to hear from 4 women. One, a restaurant owner for over 50 years, another, a CEO, and 2 more with experience in the mining industry.
I feel like I could take on the world. The energy in this room has just been so uplifting and empowering. And I hope that everybody kind of takes that away.
Jennifer Berger is a geologist and mom of 2. She shared encouragement to other women in her shoes to focus on prioritization, not perfection.
We all want to do everything to the best of our abilities or beyond that. And, we feel that we have to be perfect and we don't want to put our hand up until it is perfect. And that's just not reality, not when you're juggling so many competing priorities. So we do have to prioritize.
The panel concluded asking the women what they would say to their younger self if they met for coffee.
She will have one question for me, and she will ask me, am I going to be okay at 15 years old? And I would say to her, yes, more than okay. You're going to feel underestimated, you're going to be tested, but hard work and courage, it's powerful and will carry you right through.
Cheer for one another, cheer for yourselves.
Take little steps. Small things help to build your confidence and will give you the courage when faced with adversity.
2026 marks 115 years since the creation of International Women's Day. This year, the theme is Give to Gain, a global call to step forward in solidarity for gender equality. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Canadian shoppers are seeing their wallets squeezed each time they're buying groceries. Well, a new free phone app developed in North Bay is designed to give shoppers more cost control at the checkout. CTV's Eric Tashner has that story.
More expensive food prices means tougher choices for Canadian grocery shoppers.
Having such staggeringly high grocery bills is really, in other aspects of my life, affecting me. And I've had to delay other payments before on the account of groceries.
The latest food price report produced by several Canadian universities projects the average family of 4 will pay almost $1,000 more for food this year, at over $17,500 for the total yearly bill.
I get the flyers, I see the sales, and you gotta be picky. You gotta go grocery store to grocery store and get the best deal.
Last bill, typically $200. I would typically shop maybe 2 times a month.
To help shoppers find the best deal, One Red Maple Inc., headquartered in North Bay, designed a new grocery savings app called Gopher.Run, an AI-powered tool that analyzes prices across nearby grocery stores and shows the user where each item is the cheapest. The app then provides a clear breakdown of savings.
We find the average family of 4 will save about 25% on their groceries just by buying the same product at the right place.
Users can upload or create a grocery list, and the app automatically shows where each item costs less.
Put in your postal code and you put in your radius, 10 kilometers from your postal code, how far are you willing to drive, and it pulls all the stores in that radius, and then we check all of those stores.
Beyond price comparison, the app integrates recipe to list functionality, grocery store flyer preview, and highlights Canadian products.
You can go on everybody's website and you can check the price of bananas at every single store, but to do that for 50 items and then make a list of what stores to go to optimize your spend is nearly impossible.
Huge resource to use for sure, especially for some of the low-income people.
As bills soar, cost cutting has become a routine grocery shopping tradition. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
In Blind River, Algoma, Manitoulin, MPP Bill Rosenberg announcing more than $7 million to fix and expand water infrastructure yesterday. The town has been putting a big push on fixing up and upgrading the infrastructure as of late. Mayor Sally Hagman telling CTV News these funds will be used in modernizing the current wastewater plant.
These are moments for us to celebrate because we don't have a lot of businesses in our town, so it falls back to our taxpayers to have to pay for any kind of improvements to the community. And, you know, as a lot of communities know, there's failing infrastructure, and we've got to do something for our treasured municipalities right across the north. And piece by piece in Blind River, we are doing just that. Wow.
Hagman says the money will not only help the town meet current needs, but will also support future growth. It was a busy day in downtown Sudbury as dozens gathered to learn more about how to live their best lives as they age. The Parkside Centre was packed for the Seniors Information and Active Living Fair, held in partnership with Ontario's Ministry of Health. The event featured guest speakers and more than 40 vendors. Organizers say the goal of the fair is to connect older adults to the tools they need to stay healthy and socially engaged.
I think it's really important to have the information for seniors so that they know what's available to them. You know, I was talking to one of the vendors earlier this morning about income taxes and the fact that a lot of seniors don't know just the basic tax credits that they can apply to, that they're eligible for. So it's just a good way to get that information into the hands of the seniors who need it so badly.
How to navigate through the system, what services are out there is something people largely have no idea about. For instance, we had a lady come, she was legally blind, and she had no idea that someone can help her do groceries and that sort of thing, which is a huge thing for seniors, especially when they're battling a new diagnosis. It becomes very overwhelming, very scary, and they don't have easy access to their doctor all the time.
To learn more about anything that's available for seniors. This way, I teach also seniors classes with a few other ladies, and we like to inform them with all sorts of information because they can't come here. So that's why I'm picking up a lot of information for them.
I heard about it, and I wanted to come out, and like I live alone, and so just something to do.
And organizers estimate roughly 300 people attended today's event. Sunday morning, we spring forward 1 hour, and Sault Ste. Marie Fire Services is reminding the public now is the time to check on some of your most important devices. Officials recommend testing smoke alarms and changing the batteries. They're also reminding folks to check or install carbon monoxide detectors in the home. Carbon monoxide detectors have been required by law since January 1st of this year on each level of the home if you have a fuel-burning appliance, fireplace, or attached garage. Alberta could soon be following BC's lead and do away with twice-a-year clock changes.
I think if you just ask people, do you want to stop the time change, you'd probably end up with overwhelming support on that, as they have in other jurisdictions.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says her government will consult on ending the spring forward fallback practice. On Monday, British Columbia announced that this weekend will be the last time residents will spring their clocks ahead, locking in on daylight time. In a 2021 referendum, just over half of Albertans who voted said no to adopting daylight time. Back now for a check on your current conditions. Here's Rick.
Welcome to the weekend. Not exactly what you expected. We've got some precipitation this evening, overnight into tomorrow. Let's have a look at the forecast radar right now. That system sifting through, as I'd like to say. So again, we'll get either some snow to the north, some flurry activity, some sleet, freezing drizzle, freezing rain or rain. So it's all adding up this weekend. Let's check out some of the current temperatures right now. Let's begin in Moosonee. 1 degree cloud cover. Cochrane at 0, Timmins at 2, Kapuskasing at 0, predominantly cloudy. 2 degrees in Chapleau, 1 in Wawa, some fog in Sault Ste. Marie, also at 1. Parry Sound, we've got 5 degrees, some cloud cover there. Meanwhile, in North Bay, 5 degrees, 1 in Temiskaming Shores, and 0 Kirkland Lake. Now, Greater Sudbury, Nickel Belt, +1, Espanola 0, some light rain. It's already starting. +1 in Elliott Lake, and 2 degrees in Gore Bay. So that system moving along that Highway 17 corridor. We'll take a look at more coming up a little bit later on with the 7-day forecast and your illustrious pick of the day. Just minutes away. Tony, back to you.
Thanks, Rick. He's on the last leg of his trade mission. Next on CTV News at 6, Prime Minister Carney signs a strategic partnership deal with Japan. And Canada's trade minister is in Washington to move talks forward. Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Japan, the last leg of his Indo-Pacific trade tour. Just hours after landing in Tokyo, Carney and Japan's Prime Minister signed a new comprehensive strategic partnership. The goal is to boost cooperation on defense, energy, trade, and technology. Officials from both Canada and Japan have been told to identify immediate investment opportunities. Carney and Japan's leader also agreed to expand trade when it comes to energy projects and to work closer on critical minerals.
Prime Minister, as you know, there's a Japanese proverb that articulates the opportunity ahead of us in these difficult times globally. Ame fute ji katamaru. After the rain. Thank you. After the rain, the ground grows firmer. Adversity tests our strength and builds it. So today, we are taking our first steps on firmer ground together.
The Prime Minister said welcome back to Carney, who previously lived and worked in Japan, even spoke briefly in Japanese. While today's meetings were cordial, Japan also made it clear that continued support in Canada's auto sector is contingent on a successful renegotiation of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement, which is up for review. Canada's U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is meeting with President Donald Trump's trade czar in Washington today ahead of that review. The country's trade relationship has been upended by Trump's threats of annexation and tariffs. Prime Minister Mark Carney said during a media availability from Australia this week that CUSMA effectively has been broken in the short term by U.S. actions. The agreement has shielded Canada from some of the worst impacts of Trump's tariffs, but the president has repeatedly questioned whether the Continental Trade Pact should be continued. Meanwhile, Canada is working to get Canadians out of the Middle East. In a briefing today, Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand said ground transportation has been arranged to get Canadians out of Qatar.
We have just confirmed 4 buses leaving Qatar to Saudi Arabia starting on Saturday. We have 180 seats on offer. We are coordinating closely with Australia in this respect, and we encourage Canadians who are registered with the ROCA system to indicate their desire to utilize this means of transportation if they wish to do so.
So far, 108,000 Canadians have registered with Global Affairs in the region. 3,500 have asked for help from the government to get out. A city in southwest Quebec is experimenting with an unusual way to fight wintry road conditions. Dorval has launched a pilot project using a product made of crushed starfish instead of road salt to coat its streets. The South Korean company that makes the starfish powder says its product is highly effective in cold temperatures and less corrosive than road salt. Dorval's mayor says the next step would be to import the powder in large quantities and mix it with de-icing materials the city has on hand.
So that next winter, we would have a solution where we can mix it with the salt that we already get here in Canada, less environmental impact in transport.
The starfish mixture is also being used at the Edmonton airport. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Welcome to the weekend. This is what I've got for you. It's not pretty, but at least it's weather. We've got precipitation, some snow, some rain, mixed precipitation as well. And of course, some of the numbers will be, well, hard to cope with for some people along that Highway 17 corridor. As you can see, some of our conditions overnight: Greater Sudbury 5 to 10 millimeters, Sault Ste. Marie 10 millimeters, Timmins 5, Temiskaming Shores 5, and 10 to 15 in North Bay. Of course, that's a carryover from well, this evening into tomorrow. 5 centimeters of rain, and again, you're going to get some mixed precipitation in some sectors like Kapuskasing-Hearst, freezing drizzle and rain snow mix in Wawa, Gore Bay 10 to 15 millimeters, and Parry Sound 10 to 15 millimeters as well, and more to come for tomorrow. As you are about to see, Sudbury Nickel Belt 5 to 10 millimeters, drizzle 7 degrees, time change Sunday, chance of showers. Monday, Tuesday, you go from showers to flurries, 6 to -2, cloud cover Wednesday at -4. How about Sault Ste. Marie Algoma, 5 millimeters and drizzle tomorrow at 6. Time change Sunday, chance of showers. Monday, chance of showers, chance of flurries on Tuesday. You can see that transition with that low pressure system. 4 degrees Monday, 1 on Tuesday, -3 Wednesday with the cloud cover. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, 5 to 10 millimeters of, well, rain tomorrow, then some snow by tomorrow evening, 5 centimeters at 2 degrees. Time change Sunday, we've got, well, more sleet. Monday, more sleet, at least a 30% chance. Tuesday, chance of flurries. Wednesday, chance of flurries, and a big difference in the temperature from 3 to -8 to -6 to -4 by next Thursday with the sun and cloud. And take a look at those -16 numbers at night. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, 10 to 15 millimeters with the drizzle, 7 degrees. Time change Sunday with the sleet, 3 degrees, 6 on Monday. Chance of showers, chance of snow Tuesday at 40%, -5. And how about this? You've got -3 for 3 consecutive days, some cloud cover Wednesday, Thursday, maybe some sun and cloud by next Friday. But that's next week. And as you well know, things can change according to Environment Canada between now and next Friday. North Bay, West Nipissing, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain, risk of a thunderstorm, some drizzle, 9 degrees there. Sunday, we've got the chance of showers at 4. 7 degrees Monday, chance of showers, chance of flurries on Tuesday, 0, -3 Wednesday, and Thursday, -2. The evening temperatures even taking a bit of a dip, going from 0 to -9 to -12 to -11. Let's have a look now at our pick of the day. Great shot here from my friend Michel Chrétien from Nipissing First Nation, North Bay, the March full moon. Michel, I appreciate that. That is great photography. You sent in a couple of others that I was just amazed with. This was my favorite by every stretch of the imagination. Hey, stick around. The OFSA Senior Boys A basketball tournament's coming up in just a couple of days in Timmins with 20 teams. Tony Ryma will have more on that after the break.
The city of Timmins is the backdrop next week for the Senior Boys A OFSA Basketball Championship. Timmins High and Vocational School is the site for the event. To tell us more, let's bring in teacher and co-convener of the tournament, Peter Graham. Hi there, Peter.
Hi, thanks a lot for having me.
How many teams, players, coaches, families are you expecting for the championship?
We're excited to be welcoming 19 other teams along with ourselves at this year's championship. On average, each team is 14 to 15 members with coaches, and we're welcoming between 700 and 800 people to the city with families coming.
And we should also mention there are a couple other Northeastern Ontario teams playing in this championship, Espanola and Kirkland Lake, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Very excited to be welcoming them.
Peter, what does it mean for your school, your city, to host this provincial championship?
I mean, our city pride welcoming people to what they can experience here. Everyone's been very welcoming so far, setting up hotels and restaurants. For our school, we're fortunate for boys basketball. We've hosted a few times in the last couple of years, and we have a very dedicated team, and our school is very excited to showcase our building, our facilities, and just how welcoming we are here.
Peter, what is the biggest obstacle or challenge, do you think, when it comes to putting on an OFSA event?
getting people outside of our community to understand that Timmins is first part of the province still, but then also that we have everything that you need to host a provincial championship. The logistics of the hotels are a challenge because it's a lot of rooms. But I'd say that's one of the biggest obstacles, is just to get everyone to understand that we have everything you need. You just have to get here.
Speaking of needs, do you still need staff and or volunteers for OFSA?
No, we are ready to go. We have over 60 student volunteers between Roland Michener and Timmins High. We have almost 30 adult volunteers that have been helping out with different tasks leading up to the championship. We've had a very solid volunteer group so far.
I know you can't speak for them, but when it comes to the players, what does OFSA mean to these young athletes to compete, especially those from Timmins, you think, and Kirkland Lake and Espanola?
To the best of my knowledge, I think it's Kirkland Lake's first or maybe their second time ever at OFSA, so it's quite an accomplishment. I know they're very excited. For our students here, they have a great deal of pride for our building. We travel quite a bit during the year, and they understand the competitiveness of playing, and so they're excited to showcase their hard work to their family and friends, because not everyone gets to see us play very often. So it's really excited, not just to have the provincial championship, but to have the games in our gyms and in our city.
Peter, thanks so much for your time and good luck with the event.
Thank you.
Peter Graham, co-convener and a teacher at Timmins High and Vocational School, joined us today. And to find out more about the tournament plus scores next week, head to ofsa.on.ca. A special anniversary is happening this May in Sault Ste. Marie. In the spring, it will be the 100th birthday of the Kiwanis Club. The group was chartered May 20th, 1926, and it's an organization that serves children in the community. A former Kiwanis Club president told CTV News the group fundraises all year long for projects that benefit young people.
The Kiwanis Park, that's the old Rosedale Park, was revitalized in cooperation with the other local Kiwanis Club here in Sault Ste. Marie. And we have a beautiful facility now for the children in the area. And we are actually looking at doing a phase 3 to go with a quiet zone. So that is more fundraising that we'll be doing throughout the year.
And St. Jules also says the Kiwanis Club provides scholarships for students at Algoma University and Sault College. He adds the Service Club also has a leadership program at the St. Francis French Immersion School. By the way, the kickoff to the 100th anniversary is tomorrow. It's called Dance Through the Decades at Grand Gardens downtown. For more information, you can go to Facebook and search SSM Kiwanis. Poutine is one of Canada's most beloved comfort foods, but now the cheese curds at the center of the dish are stirring up debate. Quebec producers want special protection for their curds, and some cheesemakers in Eastern Ontario are watching closely. CTV's Josh Morano has more.
At St. Albert Cheese, just east of Ottawa, bags of fresh cheese curds are flying off the shelves.
It's these cheese curds I love.
For Dave Veldstra, it's a tasty tradition. His yearly trip to the region isn't complete without this one purchase.
We're down from London, and every time we're down here, we stop here to pick up the fresh cheese curds.
But the iconic squeaky cheese that has people lining up is now at the center of a debate over poutine's key ingredient.
It's a good news because everybody's talking about cheese curds and poutine, so that's good.
Quebec dairy producers want special acknowledgement. They are pushing for a protected geographical indication, recognizing Quebec curds as the traditional ingredient tied to poutine, similar to how only sparkling wine from France's Champagne region can be called champagne.
Cheese curd is part that when you do cheddar, when you cut the cheddar slab itself, it's making a curds. So curds was not invented by Quebec, so it should not be only known in Quebec.
But for Eric Lafontaine, Director General of St. Albert Cheese, the proposed idea doesn't cut it.
It's not fair that it's only going to be a control name in Quebec and not the rest of Canada, when the rest of Canada has been doing that product for a long time.
Some say where the curds originate isn't their main concern.
If it comes in Ontario or anywhere in Canada, and if you like the product, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Lafontaine says his biggest worry is how the label could dampen long-term sales worldwide.
It's the longer term that we're more concerned, because they want to export. that Poutine name everywhere else in the world. And for us, we think that St. Albert should be part of it because we're the biggest one and the oldest one.
And the best, according to Veldstra. He'll continue to buy his cheese from St. Albert.
Just the freshness and squeakiness of them isn't like any other.
Josh Moreno, CTV News.
He was just 15 years old, still ahead on CTV News at 6. A scholarship in memory of a young athlete from Sault Ste. Marie who was killed.
Hockey This Week is brought to you by Rastall Nut and Bolt Company.
It was a tragedy that took the life of 15-year-old Connor Dunn last April. Now the community is honoring the young athlete at a time when they could use him the most.
He's one of those kids that when times are tough, he can be silly or make kids laugh and turn a negative mood into a positive mood.
It's just like, it's like a big hole in your heart. He was such a big piece and now he's just gone and it's really hard.
Recently, Dunn's number 19 jersey he wore with the Sioux Greyhounds U16 AA team was immortalized in his neighborhood arena in a game that featured his younger brother Cash and many former teammates in front of an emotional full house.
I've been Connor's friend for a very long time, and just seeing that go up, it's obviously very sad, and it kind of just hits you very hard.
Especially the memory of getting in that crescent around the jersey there and seeing it get released will definitely be something to remember.
To further pay tribute to Connor, a scholarship fund was created in his name. It centers around two of his loves, hockey and soccer. At Sault College, it will give financial support to men's and women's hockey players who display Dunn's level of kindness, leadership, and community spirit.
To be just, connected with that is a real honor, and I hope that it brings, future student athletes at our college the opportunities to continue in sports that they love, that obviously Connor loved.
He believed in inclusiveness. He was the kind of guy who didn't want to leave anybody behind, and so through this fund we hope to make sure that we honor that and leave no child behind who wants to be able to be involved in sport.
The details are still being finalized on the amount for each hockey scholarship. However, the funds have already helped 25 families afford organized soccer. Those who knew Connor best wish more than anything to have him back, but say that knowing his legacy will benefit others is fitting for such a special young man. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Now to the OHL, and one Northern team was on the ice last night. Liram Amadovsky on the rebound there. It wins the battle to get the North Bay Battalion on the board against the Oshawa Generals. Ethan Procession would net another two before the end of the match, but a rally by the Gens. Oshawa takes this one 4-3. The Generals will continue across the north, taking on the Sudbury Wolves tonight at the Sudbury Community Arena. Puck drop is 7:05, while the Sioux Greyhounds are on the road to meet the top-ranked Kitchener Rangers at 7 o'clock. Last night, it was a battle at Countryside Arena between the Sudbury Cubs and Sioux Thunderbirds. The two teams trading goals all game long, but no one able to capitalize in overtime. The game for these two ended at 3 goals apiece. Tonight, the Cubs are in Powassan to take on the Voodoos, while the Thunderbirds play host to the French River Rapids. Both those games are 7 o'clock starts. The Hearst Lumberjacks are in Michigan tonight to face off against the Sioux Eagles, and the Espanola Paper Kings head north to play the Iroquois Falls Storm. Puck drop for those games is 7:30.
72 a game a season. Here's Jeff. They score! Nick Foligno gets his 250th goal and makes it 2-0 Hawks.
Former Sudbury Wolves forward Nick Foligno is on the move. The Chicago Blackhawks captain has been traded to the Minnesota Wild for future considerations. Nick will be playing with another former Wolves forward, his brother Marcus Foligno, who plays for the Wild. This is the first time the brothers will play together in a professional setting. The 2026 Paralympic Winter Games opened in Milano Cortina today. CTV's John Venevali-Rao tells us more about Team Canada.
After a torch relay that saw the Paralympic flame carried across Italy, it finally made its way to the opening ceremony, where athletes from 50 countries gathered inside the iconic Verona Arena for a display celebrating the start of the 14th Paralympic Games. That'll see 50 Canadians compete, including Tyler Turner, who lost both legs below the knee because of a skydiving accident. He'll take part in para-snowboarding after winning Canada's first gold in the sport 4 years ago.
I can't wait. I mean, I've been ready for this for so long. It's a long wait for this one moment to go put everything on the line, and I cannot wait for that moment to come.
Greatness doesn't start in the spotlight. It starts on local trails after school.
As shown in this promotional video, the athletes have been training hard to compete in all sorts of events, including wheelchair curling and para-skiing. With Saskatchewan's Brittany Hudak a top medal hope, an inspiration to others, she's at her 4th Paralympic Games. And when it comes to sledge hockey, the Canadian team predicts they'll again battle Team USA for the gold after winning silver at the last 2 games. The team is being led by Ontario's Tyler McGregor, who lost a leg to a type of bone cancer.
I think for us to be able to represent our sport on the global stage and inspire the next young kid who may be missing a leg or has a disability to maybe dream of one day doing the same. I think that's what success looks like.
Serving as honorary captain for the Paralympic team, 6-time para-skiing medalist Mac Marcoux.
I think across all 5 sports, we have a lot of athletes to keep your eye on. It's almost one of those things you can't look away because you might miss something incredible.
With new heroes and new stories set to emerge over the next 9 days of competition. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson will be honored at Cannes this year, and singer Harry Styles is headed for Netflix. Douglas Hyde has more in tonight's Hollywood Report.
And he got some work.
Harry Styles is getting back to work with his first full-length concert in nearly 3 years. And you can watch every minute of it in his new Netflix special, Harry Styles One Night in Manchester. He'll be performing every song on his just-released album, Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally, including the #1 hit, Aperture. This year's Cannes Film Festival is going to be a memorable one for Peter Jackson. The Lord of the Rings director is set to receive an honorary Palme d'Or during the opening ceremony in May. The festival says the award celebrates a career of extraordinary artistic vision and technological audacity.
It's the land of make-believe. Do you not want to make believe?
A new trailer is giving us our first look at Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan in the upcoming season of Beef. They play a country club general manager and his wife, whose marital problems draw the attention of newly engaged workers, played by Charles Melton and Kaylee Spaney. Season 2 kicks off on Netflix April 16th. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
The U.S. Supreme Court did not say whether Washington would have to refund the billions of dollars it collected in tariffs. But now the U.S. Customs Agency weighed in. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
The U.S. Customs Agency says it's working on a way to process tariff refunds. The U.S. Supreme Court deemed last month that the U.S. president did not have the authority to impose tariffs in most circumstances. Washington collected $166 billion in tariffs from around 330,000 importers. It wasn't made clear refunds would be issued, but the Customs Agency says it should be able to start refunds in 45 days. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to $73.62. West Texas Intermediate jumped almost $10 to $90.77. Western Canadian Select is also up $5 to $65.40, and the TSX lost another 526 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold is up $85.55, closing the day at $51.6814 US an ounce. Silver also up $2.04. Copper moved forward 3 cents to $5.83, and nickel is up 6 cents, ending the day at $7.78 US a pound. And I have the pleasure right now to give you the forecast for Saturday. Let's start with Sudbury. Above zero temperatures, 7 degrees, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. In through Timmins, you get some mixed precipitation, snow, rain, 2 degrees, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. In through Sault Ste. Marie, 6 degrees, 5 millimeters of rain. Let's head on over to North Bay, 9 degrees, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. 12 degrees for Parry Sound, double digits. Risk of a thunderstorm there, 10 to 15 millimeters, and 10 to 15 millimeters of rain, 7 degrees in through Timiskaming Shores. And folks, thanks for watching CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night. Have a good weekend.